we were given the choice. We either became bell ringers or we went into the choir, and we chose bell ringing, which one thing we didn't like about it, it meant that we missed, the practice was on a Monday evening, so we missed the Waltons, which we didn't like, and that was the days before video recorded.
I think to me that's how an aspect of religion started. And then, of course, I've got the problem with there are so many religions. You know, I mean, one of them's got to be wrong or right, I don't know. And I wouldn't mind having religion, but I just think I'm so cynical, and I'm not clubbable either. I'm a groucho, you know, like I won't be a member of anyone that has me as a member. So I don't know. I'm a pretty lost cause. I think I'd be very surprised. I mean, I like the idea of like 2 minutes before death, just saying I'll join. You know.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are like that, and I can remember having an argument with friends of my parents, of sort of saying, you know, anyone that doesn't believe in God, you know, is obviously going to burn in eternal hell forever, and just something like that. Like, my God, where did that come from?
Are you a man of faith or not?
Very much so. I am a strong believer in God, and have always publicly proclaimed so, which doesn't gain me much credit in liberal and so-called progressive circles. They regard that as a mark of cultural conservatism, and they say that as if it's a bad thing. But I'm very strongly a man of faith, yes.
When you're getting that buzz off heroin or any drug, does it really seem a positive answer to the solutions? You know, so because you feel it makes you feel better. Do you see it as a positive? Like the next one will be a positive, and it's not going to have a negative impact on my life. It's only going to be a positive solution.
No. So heroin does work for what you want it to work for. That's why so many people use heroin. It's a very highly effective drug. It has severe negative consequences, but those negative consequences are distant and abstract, and the benefits they bring are immediate and tangible. So we ignore distant and abstract consequences for the immediate tangible benefits of the chemical feeling produced by opioids.
Yeah. Thank you for your time, and I pray blessings on all those who are listening to this, and invite them to pray for the Holy Land and for all the peoples of this land, that we would be led into times of peace.
Subject, but I'm trying to think of, you know, the town I live, and where, you know, and I think a lot of us were just ashamed that you know, had some sort of that flag, that White Lives Matters flag, had some sort of association with us, that's what we all felt, and it's absolutely not what everybody feels. But I would say there's quite a lot of people in Burnley that do feel that there's you know, at the election, Tommy Robinson was up on the estates, and people turned out in good numbers to go and listen to him speak, and that I wonder why that is. What do you think the disconnect is for those people, Ella?
Well, it's not a mystery to me, because I think the especially the issue of Tommy Robinson, you have someone who has made his career out of the fact that he is this kind of person that the liberal elite are terrified of, who they keep trying to cancel me, he says, you know, they keep trying to silence me. Most of his celebrity is about the idea that he is a thorn in the side of what Guardian readers. And the problem is people do keep trying to silence him and do keep trying to censor him. And so he has a point. And so that part of what I've always said is, let idiots like Tommy Robinson, or whether it's Alex Jones in the US, sound off all they like. It really doesn't take long to pick apart their arguments. And so, you know, the idea of that Tommy Robinson has the interests of the Burnley working class, or wherever it is, at heart, and that this isn't just a kind of celebrity campaign for him, is a bit ridiculous. I mean, that it doesn't take long to show why his views on Muslims are prejudiced. It doesn't take long to show why his views on women are backward. You know, he's not a politically interesting guy, but the thing is that people keep trying to silence him.
I'm all right, so I can say that I still don't do God, but I do the Godcast.
Well, that should be my opening line, really, shouldn't it? You know, yeah. A man who doesn't do God.
I'm having a very a very godly week, because I had a chat with the Archbishop earlier this week.
Of Canterbury?
Yeah.
Right, okay. Can you tell us what that was about, or is that all top secret?
Not really. We just occasionally chat about this, that, and the other. He's actually quite keen on the mental health agenda as well.
Yeah.
So I think he's got this thought that one day I'll see the light and I'll join you.
Well, you never know. We live in hope.
As my sister says, my sister's a very big believer, and she always says, "Well, you may not do God, but God does you."
And what a show it was. If you did watch it, wow, It was unbelievable what he pulled together.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, but it was weird watching Carl's rock up around the ring. It was weird.
They were beeping the horns, so they were when I got into the ring. All I could think of was, this is actually happening. I am actually in the car park and people are beeping horns. It was surreal. It was mad. And you're trying to keep the focus, but you're also thinking to yourself, this is actually happening. But it was good. The experience, to be part of it.
I wondered to myself if people were just kind of driving past and thinking, what on earth is going on in that car park?
In 95, you were allowed 2 subs, but it was a semi-final and it was Tottenham at Ellen Road. And just obviously being an Evertonian, just driving up to Ellen Road that day was just blue. It was just blue. Going into the stadium, we had the FA give one team 3 parts of the stadium, and one team had one huge stand. We were lucky enough. We had the stand behind both goals and one long stand, and they just had one. It was a huge stand, but it went really high. You didn't get the effect. So when you went on that pitch, all you could really see was blue scarves and flags and just Evertonians everywhere. And obviously we went on to win the semi-final.
Look, as Steve Bruce, so you had to press your nose into your face, and that helps you with your Steve Bruce, because his nose is not the straightest. You start reading the book and getting into the beat of the way he talks, and can we go there and get 3 points?
So I think I've never met anyone who runs a food bank that wouldn't love to be able to close it tomorrow, and I've never met anyone who has to go to a food bank who wouldn't give anything for the dignity of going to the supermarket instead.
And they go, oh, there he is. I thought, oh, they've recognised me. Yes, I was Jesus. No, they thought I was their taxi driver. So they got on the back of the car. and I explained that I wasn't their taxi driver, but they didn't really believe me. So I dropped them off wherever they had to go. And then.
Yes, I've been to Burnley. I went to a football match at Burnley. Manchester United were playing Burnley, and I arrived at the game as a guest. So we went to the guest entrance, and I was wearing like a nice suit jacket and some trousers accordingly, but a t-shirt underneath, like a black t-shirt, and a very gravelly Burnley accent said to me, "Where's your tie?" So I said, "I beg your pardon." He said, "Can't come up these stairs without a tie." So I said, "But I'm wearing a t-shirt. Even if you were to supply me with a tie, I'm wearing a t-shirt. If I were aware of it, then I would have worn a tie." "No, you got to wear a tie." So my lasting memory of Burnley is him approaching me with the most awful brown patterned like Uncle Jerry would wear, and he made me put it on above my t-shirt.
Love it.
There's a kind of embarrassment in Britain about saying that you're religious. I remember Alastair Campbell saying, when Tony Blair was asked whether he had prayed with President George W. Bush, and Campbell said, "We don't do God."
My 40th interview, and I've managed to interview quite a few famous people. I don't know if it's the dog collar, but I asked the question and people say, "Yeah, I'll do that." And when you went, "Yeah, I'll do it," I'm like, Ross King's just said he'll do the golf. It's wonderful. I've never sung with anybody famous, so can we sing something?
What do you want to sing?
Sing something from Oliver. What should we sing?
Right. Do you know Papa?
Yeah. You start it off.
There's a little ditty. There's day, especially when they've been on the gin or the beer. If you've got the patience, your imaginations will tell you just exactly what you want to hear. You ready? Papa.
That's how it goes. Papa, everyone knows. You made.
I take it back.
Hi everyone, it's me, Dee. You might know me from Benefit Street, Celebrity Big Brother, or you might just recognise the gob, the dulcet tones. So tune in to the I get this wrong, God podcast.
The Godcast.
The Godcast with me and Father Alex very, very soon. Take care.
When I go to sixth forms, which I do quite well in normal times, I do quite a lot. I really enjoy working with young people, and I like the refining fire of young people's questions. When I go to a sixth form to do like a Q&A, you can be sure that the second or third question will always be about why is the church so homophobic? And quite often I'm embarrassed. They often also ask why is the church so racist, and I'm embarrassed about that as well. And so, speaking very personally, I am determined to try to make a difference and to use the position and influence I have to make the church a much more welcoming place for all people, including LGBTI plus people. There is no place for homophobia in the church, and we must name it as the sin that it is.
Changed immeasurably, hasn't it? It is a proper Premier League setup now, isn't it?
It is. I mean, the training ground, we used to go in and there'd be mould growing up wall and it'd be damp, but it were our mould and it were our damp, and we put up with that and we loved it. If you know what I mean. I know that sounds, but we knew it were going to be there, so we'd get on with it. And now you go down.
It were our mould. It were our damp.
You see, that's me Yorkshireman coming out. Get off me mould, it's mine. That.
Applied for. There were two jobs going at the same time. One was Moscow and one was Washington, and I actually applied for the Moscow job.
Right. Okay.
And they obviously thought, we don't think you're right for Moscow, but would you mind Washington? So I mean, I just could not believe it. I mean, I was 30 years old and they were offering me, the top job in, I think, in British television journalism. So
it got to a point where I just couldn't take it anymore. And I knew if I was to continue to be a Christian, and there was nowhere else for me to go, I am a Christian, I had to move. And you can move in the Catholic Church, but it's a bit of a tightrope. Even I know clergy, wonderful men, gay, in relationships, beautiful Christian men, they have to lie. And they'll poke the bear a bit on the issue, but they know if they ever said, of course I believe that the loving commitment of two people of the same gender is loved and blessed by God and we should marry people. If they ever said that, they'll be out.
It was a narrow defeat, wasn't it, at the first general election, if I recall. And I thought, okay, well, this is going to be very interesting, and we're going to see where this goes. Mm-hmm. When it got to the next election, it all seemed to fall apart somewhat. I don't know if that's a fair assessment, John.
No, it is. Definitely. It is. What happened was that Jeremy gets elected in 2015. I'm his campaign manager. When Jeremy ran for the leadership, first of all, to get onto the ballot paper to stand for in the leadership election, you have to have a certain number of MPs nominate you. And on two occasions, I'd stood for the leadership when Tony Blair and then on to Gordon Brown. And on both occasions, I was so popular, I couldn't even get on the ballot paper. That's how bad it was.
It's, happiness itself, particularly when you're young, is a strange thing in itself. You are identifying yourself, you're becoming a person at that point, and trying to figure out what makes you happy and trying to figure out why you are feeling certain things is one of the greater challenges of growing up, experiencing, becoming aware, I suppose,
about the hair. And that is your real hair we're viewing now, is it, Samantha?
This is my real hair. It looks okay, well-ish today, because hooray, we've managed to finally get rid of the wig. So I had it. I was able to have it blow dried yesterday.
Okay.
So that was great, because I can't do my own hair. It's very thick. It's already got a little bit frizzy here, which I've tried to get rid of this morning. But Bernice is obviously a hairdresser and very coiffed her look. So the makeup department knew that I wouldn't be able to do my hair, and they're not allowed to touch us or make us up or anything at the moment. So the wig was the best option, really. There has been a lot of, I mean, the wig's got more blinking publicity than anything, I think, at the moment. So I had the latest message from upstairs, as we call them, to say that just do whatever it takes, just get the wig off her, and you know, so I'm allowed to have my hair blow dried twice a week, and by the same, it'll be one of two people that does it, so it's all still very COVID safe. I still have to do my own makeup, but at least I get to have the hair done, thank goodness.
Yeah. How